Welcome to the Value Builder Podcast, where we focus on real estate with a value-add mindset. Real strategies, real operators, real outcomes. Let's dive in.
Welcome, Value Builder community. Today I have a very special guest and dear friend, Pat Hiban. Pat has more miles in real estate than just about anyone I know. He sold over $1 billion in real estate as an agent, built and led a powerhouse team. Then he made a leap in multifamily, which he grew exponentially. And then he co-founded one of the most powerful masterminds for high-achieving men in the world called GoBundance. But I really want you to pay attention is where today Pat is right now. He's at 60 right now, and he works about 90 minutes a day. He's still very active, has built true horizontal income, which is passive income. He's going to explain in an episode. And really right now has developed a razor sharp filter for evaluating any opportunities that come across his desk. So stick around to the end because the framework he uses, easy, lucrative, and fun, that's how he screens right now opportunities and deals. It's something that will genuinely change how you think about it, new deals, and which deals you want to jump on. So let's get into it.
Well, what's up, Saul? Good to be back.
So, Pat, you've done it all, right? You have so much experience and miles under your belt. You've sold $1 billion of real estate. You've sold more than $1 billion was so much. You actually were the only one person who I knew who sold $1 billion. You were a real estate investor, buying multifamily, creating amazing community, GoBundance. Where are you at right now? How is your day looking right now after doing so much? What's exciting in your life right now?
Yeah, great question, Saul. I'm 60 years old. I have my main house where I live. My primary residence is in Folly Beach, South Carolina, where you've been. You visited me like the first month that I lived there. I think that was probably 11 years ago, if you remember that.
Yeah,
Wow.
I do remember.
Yeah, that was when, we just moved in, and then that's my primary residence, but my kids moved to Charlotte, so we bought a house in Charlotte as well as our second house. And my oldest daughter just got married last weekend, so it was quite a fulfilling life moment and a very soul-filled event to have happened. And then my youngest daughter gets married in October. As far as on the work front, I work like 90 minutes a day, I think, which is good for me most of the time. I think that sometimes I do get bored, certainly, but not enough to want to kind of take on any new endeavor that I'm going to be beholden to. I've kind of reached a point where I believe that I have enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yet at the same time, I'm addicted to the game and I like to, move money around for the sake of moving it around and, sell things and buy things and look at investments and just count my cards, so to speak. So, that's kind of where I am in life. I've tried in the past to take on hobbies that are more like my thing, like a friend of our friend spends 3 to 4 hours a day playing pickleball. I tried to pick up pickleball. I was into it for about 90 days and, haven't done it since. I try to pick up things here and there and I can last about 90 days, but
Yeah.
I just have these conflicting thoughts in my head about, whether I want to be beholden to something or not. Yeah. So anyways, that's my life.
That's awesome. First of all, congrats on all the weddings and saw pictures. Amazing. It seems like it was an amazing party on social media. It was great.
It was great.
So 90 minutes a day. Wow, that's fascinating. Do you mind sharing what is that? 90 minutes a day, you just looking for the hobbies or it's more just moving?
No, that's just
you're
more
looking
like
funds around?
email. Yeah, I would say checking spreadsheets, answering emails, might be at GoBundance. We have about 42 or so employees at GoBundance. I think I know maybe 5 of them firsthand. We have a CEO, Matt King. I might speak to Matt once a week. I might try to text with him once a day or once every other day. I might, it's a very hands-off business. Luckily, my partners, kind of grew up in the Keller Williams world where the belief structure is to, grow yourself out of a business And that's what they've done with GoBundance. So as the elders, so to speak, or owners, we've kind of grown our way out of it. So there's no requirement on our part, needed less and less as it goes on. And so, I mean, that's a good thing. But at the same time, busy ADHD entrepreneurs, as we all are, yourself included, we look for things to fill those stuff. Anyways,
That's awesome.
one of the things I just did actually that's new, if you ask what's new and exciting, one of the things we just invested in to fill that gap is with Ken Wimberly. Remember Ken?
Yep, I do remember.
So Ken Wimberly created a company with a guy named Skylar Williamson, which is a laundry company. It's a laundromat company
Hmm.
essentially. It's how McDonald's has.
Yep,
Sometimes you go by McDonald's and they have playgrounds in them.
yep, yep.
So Laundry Love has playgrounds in their laundromats. They also have a free library in their laundromats where the kids can take books and they get to keep them. So it's community service. We stock them with children's books that the children can keep.
Interesting. So are
And
they like in a shopping centers that are standalone buildings typically ground up?
shopping centers, and we rent them. So there's 4 of them, and we're looking at becoming the franchisor. As actually we've gone through the process. We are the franchisor. We have several people that are raising their hands, so to speak. We'll probably have 10 by the next 12 months. In 2 weeks, I'm going to something like a discovery day, which is what they call it, where interested franchisees fly in and you tour them around the 4 that we have and talk about the franchise model. So I'm going to go to one of those in about 2 weeks. But I guess the question is what's new and exciting. So that would be what's new and exciting. Filling my time with some of that stuff too. So it's kind of fun. So I'm looking forward to that. On the GoBundance side, Matt King, our CEO, is doing a bike ride called The Ride. He's calling it The Ride.
Hmm.
Anybody interested could look at gobundance.com/the ride. And what he's essentially doing is he's riding on his bicycle from Mexico to Canada.
Yeah. How long is it gonna take that?
Wow, he thinks it's going to take 15 days. I think it's going to take longer. And
Yes,
his goal,
that's probably continental divide, right?
yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
and then during that trip as well, what he wants to do is he wants to give away money. I mean, ideally, he wants to give away $1 million between Mexico and Canada. It just depends on how the donations flow. But the idea is that he would every town that he stops in for the night, he's going to go to a women's battered women's shelter, homeless shelter, a person in need that has been recommended via social media, that sort of thing, and he is going to give them money,
Mhm.
and then kind of go on his way. You know what I mean? We've got uh, you know local news and things like that lined up in all the major cities that he's stopping in. He's taking a rural route, so he's going to stop in almost some like forgotten cities, some very small towns,
Mhm.
and he's going to pre-plan for the most part, like who's going to get the money when he arrives in that town.
Does he have like a team or he's doing it on solo?
Oh yeah, he's got a whole team. He's got two vans full of people. He's got eight bicycles that he's bringing, so you could jump on and ride with him. I'm gonna meet him for 3 days from Dallas to Oklahoma City and ride with
That's
him for
so cool,
3
actually.
days. Yeah. He has some famous people riding with him. I think Jesse Itzler's slated. Sahil Bloom, who wrote the 5 Levels of Wealth, is going to ride with him one day. So he's got some fun people riding with him. So yeah, so it's that happens at the end of May, beginning of June.
Yeah. So everyone, guys, look it up, and if you wanna participate in donation, I really think it's a great cause, and Matt is a great dude. I saw him rise. I think you found him, right? And then he worked with David, and then he became a CEO. So it's
Yeah, I
It
think you
was,
met him, when he was super young, like probably
yeah,
21 or so. Yeah, when you first met
yeah,
him.
yeah. He's a great, great,
Funny how time flies, huh?
great man. Awesome. Mm. Yes, definitely would like to check it out. Now, I would like to lean on your comment is that, yeah, you're working 90 minutes a day, but I know a little bit about you, and I know you've been selling $1 billion in real estate, running the team, and that's 9 minutes a day. So my question is, when do you have this idea that, all right, enough is enough. I'm gonna be working 90 minutes a day, and I'm more or less off this rat race because so many people struggle, especially real estate, right? There's never enough, or the cash flow could be enough. Strategic expanding probably your lifestyle, and there's many reasons, but you definitely are an example who are more or less were able to make that transition. So I guess clarifying question: do you remember that moment or time or event when it was, maybe it was couple, because I know you transitioned from agent to real estate investor, then passive investor. Do you remember those moments?
Yeah, I remember there's a lot of them. I mean, well, I think what helped me was first and foremost when the crash happened in 2008,
Mm-hmm.
2009. Looking back, I mean, this is an interesting question that you asked. I think that that was kind of a catalyst for me to quit
Mm-hmm.
real estate sales. I'd always been in the sales end of it where income was earned at 2.5, 3% at a
Mm-hmm.
time, right? So one deal at a time, one transaction at a time. And, I guess between, say, 2006 and 2009, a lot happened to me. I went to Keller Williams. I was the regional director for the state of Maryland and DC.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for about 7 months before I got fired for essentially insubordination. I mean, would have certainly fired myself looking back on it. I take full responsibility, but I think that was traumatic for me. And then the other thing, even more, that was traumatic for me was um, just the market crashing. I mean, we were doing
Mm-hmm.
like we averaged 41 units a month. And I can remember one month going to 8, like literally, like it was like, I don't know, let's say March. It was like March. I'm making up these years, but I think it was like March 2006 compared to March 2007,
I
or
remember
March
that.
2007 compared to 8. One of those, we went from 41 to 8, and and we could sustain that, but I would have to start giving money back,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want to give money back, so I just fired everybody, and we basically slimmed it all the way down. And that was like a 3 or 4 year process. And then when we came out of that, I didn't feel like uh, doubling down. I just said at the time, I don't want to give good money, put good money after bad money. So that's essentially when I quit
Mm-hmm.
sales. And the reason that I'm bringing that up is because I think those were traumatic times, but they actually got me to quit, which in hindsight is great. So certainly, the real estate market has crushed it since then. Not since then, but once it started getting cooking again.
Yeah.
Let's just say, what do you want to say? The last, well,
2002,
that's
right?
probably when it was at its bottom. That's where we had all the REOs and
Mm-hmm.
all those REOs. Remember that?
Yep. 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 We're
Yeah,
selling a lot of
I
them.
would say probably like the money's been made. Let's just say for the last 8 years, there's been a ton of money made.
Mm-hmm.
I missed that. I wasn't in that. I wasn't making commissions into that market, but I don't regret it at all. I mean, I'm glad. I mean, we've had GoBundance and we've had DAPT Acquisitions, which is my
Mm-hmm.
investment company where we buy apartment buildings in tertiary markets of Atlanta, Georgia. And we've accumulated about 3,000 units that we currently still have. And, all those things happened. I don't know if they would have happened if I hadn't have quit selling real estate, or if I was selling real estate, if I might not had the time to put into them or the care. I might have said, well, I that those are distractions. I don't know. Who knows? God only knows. But, I'm certainly glad that I did. I'm certainly glad that I was also able to succeed at a couple of things. It would have been worse, right, if I quit selling real estate and then just couldn't make it back doing my next thing, right? That would suck. But anyways, I'm grateful. Certainly I tried a lot of things since then that failed as well, by the way. Like, a lot of small side hustles I did that didn't work,
Do you
probably
mind
10.
touching on that, just unpacking them? Do you regret on all of them, or any of them hit? Well, I believe, of course, Go Abundance is a massive hit, right? I think that great success story. But do
I
you
mean,
overall, do you think you regret going in those side hustles in those startup businesses, or in hindsight, actually was a great idea because that maybe led to Go Abundance, or no? If you go back, let's say, would you do it again?
well, yeah, I'd do it again. 2000 and let's just So in 2011, I wrote my book, Six Steps to Seven Figures. And my
Hmm.
goal was
That's where I met
to,
you the first time in the family reunion.
was that right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was standing in line. Mike Sloan gave me the book, and you signed the book. We did not even know each other, but I'm like, oh, it was a great book. So just sorry interrupting, but
That was one of the best days of my life, I think, looking back. I mean, so what I did was I wrote the book and my goal was to be a New York Times bestseller. I said, I don't want to do this and be like, nobody's going to read this. This is just an ego job. It's just a business card, which so many books I get, I probably get 3 books a month from people that are like, hey, I wrote this book. I self-published it. And, you know, uh,
hmm,
there's so many other great books. Why would I read this book that,
yep.
written like somebody's journal that was typed? And so anyways, I wanted it to be good. So I spent 7 months of my life traveling to, I don't know, I probably did 7 cities a month or something, just traveling all over different states and speaking to real estate offices, mainly Keller Williams
Hmm.
offices, and getting them to buy 50 to 100 books at a time for me to speak. And then it hit, and then I got them to all pre-order it. So then they pre-ordered it, and then on the day that it came out, all the orders were put in. And then
Hmm.
I also spoke at that Keller Williams convention, and Gary Keller recommended it. And then on top of it, he said, and by the way, buy 5 of them because books always sink in better if you create a little mastermind and discuss it with people.
Hmm.
So then we had some deal. If you bought 5, you got a discount. And man, I walked out. I walked off of that stage, and we had a booth there. They said with Mike
And
Sloan.
sorry interrupting you. I bought a box, and I was running a team, and I had to check in those books. Flying from, I believe it was in Austin, Chicago. So I did that.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So and then so yeah. So I think we sold like 3,500 books, right? Like that day,
Hmm.
and then the next day it came out, and that was that. So we hit the bestseller list, number 6 on New York Times, and that was just such a great manic day. It was so intense because we spent like 2 days before that trying to sell one book at a time, and no one wanted to even look at it. They're like, "What is this? A book? Why would I buy a
Yeah.
book?" There's all these other gadgets you can buy at a convention hall for a real estate company. And they're like, I'm not going to buy a book. And then I don't know anything about it. And who are you? And then as soon as I was on stage, it was like night and day difference. And then we just sold out. It was just so crazy. Anyways, so I did that. And then I got home and I said, okay, now let me settle a little bit because I've been away from my family doing this book tour thing. Let me become a coach like Mike Ferry or somebody. I
Mm.
thought I could be a real estate coach. I could coach other real estate agents. And I started taking some courses and listening to some people that coach and how to coach and da 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 da. I don't know, man. I just was like, I do not want to talk to real estate agents because they don't listen.
Hmm.
I'm going to
Hmm.
talk to 30 of them and I'm going to say, hey, do this, sit in the corner and prospect, or sit in the corner and be aggressive, or hand out
Hmm.
12 business cards a day. Then only 1 out of 30 is going to actually do what I say. And the other 29 are not, even though they're paying me. I just thought, I don't want to deal with this. And so I didn't do it. Instead, I made a podcast. Pat Hiban interviews real estate rock stars. You were on that a
Mm-hmm.
couple times. And I created like an online university, Rebus University,
Rebus
which you
University.
actually helped me with the listing presentation. You did
Yep.
your listing presentation for. And yeah, well, I went out on both of those things and they really didn't work at the end of the day, looking back, right? They both failed. So
Well, I think you sold one of them, right? Or
yeah, I
you
sold
labeled
both
it.
of them. I sold it to Aaron Amuchastegui. He still has them. I don't know if quite frankly, I don't know what Aaron's doing with them. I know the Real Estate Rockstars podcast still exists.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he does the episodes. I think he has a host he hired.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't talked to him about, whether it makes money or not, but I don't really regret it. I mean, that was like I think it was before COVID. So it was like 18 or 19. So time flies, man. That was probably 7 years ago. It's crazy. So anyways, I was able to sell it, which I was happy to be able to do. And I didn't get a lot of money for it, but
Mm-hmm.
I got out of it. I was telling some kid yesterday, I said, I'm part of the Joe Polish belief of ELF, ELF, which is
Mm-hmm.
easy, lucrative, and fun. Any
Easy,
business or any,
lucrative, and fun. Easy,
yeah,
lucrative, and fun. This is great filter, man.
yeah.
That's a
If it's not
gem.
easy, lucrative, and fun, I don't want to have anything to do with it. And those two companies, Rebus and Real Estate Rockstars, uh, were not any of those.
We're not easy. We're not lucrative. We're not fun.
Oh, and I remember going down. I had a podcast studio in my garage, and I can remember I got to the point where I'd open the door of the garage and be like, "Oh, I don't want to do this
Why I'm
again. I
doing
don't want to
this?
talk to another agent about sphere of influence and oh, the
Mm-hmm.
same thing over and over and over again." And it didn't make any money because the advertisers really don't want to pay you. I mean, you know, Joe Rogan and some of these other guys, they're anomalies. Like the advertisers just do not pay nothing, pennies, right? And so you really can't make money. And it just wasn't fun anymore. It wasn't. I don't know. I was just trying to fill a void there. I mean, I tried it. It could have worked. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
who knew, right? Anyways, I probably did 10 things like that. Uh, and I guess I'm lucky enough that I was able to quit a lot of them. I didn't have a lot invested. I didn't have any investors that I was beholden to or anything like that. They were all small startup. And then the DAPT acquisitions and the GoBundance, I was able to start those with friends, so they were fun, easy because I wasn't the one running them. I was just like a side guy, and certainly both lucrative, and over time lucrative. In the beginning, nothing is lucrative, but over time lucrative. And so now they're running on both of them are running on all cylinders. They're doing excellent. I'm very happy with both of them. So, same thing with Laundry Love. I don't plan on being like a
Mm-hmm.
salesman for Laundry Love or digging into it much. But, if there's a franchise convention and I can go work a booth for once a year and I could, you know, talk to people, I'll do it. But I don't plan on doing much with it. I need it to be easy and also fun
That's
and
awesome.
hopefully
Yeah.
lucrative. Hopefully it'll work. Who knows though, right?
Well, you have this magic touch. You had a lot of things when you get involved. I've seen it over and over and over that it just expands sometimes exponentially. Not saying everything expands right away, but when it hits, it hits. And you just had a number of,
Yeah, you don't.
I mean, you have a number of things that just goes through the stratosphere when you get involved. Even though, like you say, you're not running massive team and you're not running massive sales organization, just being there, somehow we have this ability, and that's just the magic you have.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm very fortunate, very grateful, and I'm very appreciative of partners and the people that I got in the business with and the people that have come work for us over the years. So, yeah, so it's been a good ride. I mean, I'm certainly not done. There's other things in my future, but I just don't know. I'll ask you, where do you think the money's flowing next, Saul? Like,
Yeah.
what's
Huh.
next? What's next? Like real estate. Let's talk about this. Real estate. They always said, Ray Dalio talks about the 7-year cycles, right? And,
Hmm.
I think we're on year, what, 12 or 14. When did the cycle start? Like we were just talking about this, right? 15. We're already
Hmm.
like 11, 12 years in to a positive real estate cycle.
Yeah.
So what is next?
Every week, I read hundreds of commercial real estate articles from across the US and around the world. I connect the signals, break down the Fed moves, and share real case studies, not theory, from my 2 decades of real estate experience and actively doing deals right now. My team and I spend 15 plus hours on a weekly basis and deliver this to you for free. You can read it in 5 minutes. So every Sunday at 9:07 a.m., you'll get major commercial real estate news that matters, one Fed insights that matters, one deep dive case study from me or one of our operators who already made the mistakes, so you don't have to. Thousands of commercial real estate operators and investors read this newsletter, especially in the value add space. And don't take my word for it. Check out hundreds of reader testimonials online. Plus, when you subscribe, you get instant access to a Proforma underwriting tool, the same one we use every single day to underwrite value add deals. Now, this is not for you if you're looking to get rich quick schemes, or if you're looking for theory and hallucinations, not real numbers, or you're not serious about commercial real estate. But if you want real tactics, real deals, real results, no bait and switch, go to joinvaluebuilder.com and subscribe for free. And see you there, guys. Well, and that's the question I'm actually trying to answer myself and analyze, right? I read one thing and you read one thing, right? And I think I'm probably 15 years behind in similar real estate career that you are. I remember was ultimate goal was to get, I think it was called 7 level of team, right? But
Yeah.
I think when you got there, you realize that actually that 7 level is very different than I saw it exist. And then I think probably just
You're
became,
talking about the 7 levels of a real estate team that Gary Keller and Jay Papasan
yes, yes,
designed in
exactly.
the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. And then what many people found was you can do the 7-level team, but the profit margin was extremely thin. And
Yes.
if the market fluctuate, it worked great in a
Then you have to jump into production and patch the holes. That's what happens.
right. You got to jump in production and patch the holes. And many people that do that 7-level, they still do listing appointments. They still take, I guess a smart way to do it is say I only take anything above $1 million, or I only do listings above $1
Yeah.
million, or some of them got it figured out. Others just take everything and anything like a junkyard dog and compete against their agents.
Yeah.
I don't know what's right or wrong. Certainly
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
I
So
see a
I
lot of
think
these.
so the same thought is for me is that then I think it was investing in housing. And when I was investing in housing, I remember it was almost like a rule, uh, 1-to-1 rule. You're buying something for 150,000 and rent is 1,500. And then
1% rule, which is
it was
what,
like,
bigger
yeah, 1%
pockets.
rule.
That was the bigger
And
pockets
definitely
model.
that eroded soon, within probably 3-4 years when so many, Burr model came out and bigger pockets and stuff like that. I think it's not only because of that, but I think it just, because prices went up faster than rents. So that model, Kiyosaki model cash flow, also was not so true anymore. Then multifamily saw, then the self storage, commercial. And I think it's a kind of natural progression that those models slow over time getting saturated and not becoming as like it used to be before. So coming back to what's next, I don't know. I mean, I'm learning to do business acquisitions. We launched Industrial IQ with my partner Shay, which is a software which is a data company for buying small bay industrial properties. I think this is probably another model that is fairly lucrative. The way I see it, actually, your profit margins increases as you grow versus. Yeah. So I see in these models, the actual profit margins are increasing as you grow, comparing they're decreasing.
This is small bay industrial. Like how many bays?
Small bay industrial is typically it's an industrial building which is multifamily. You want to think about it's a apartment complex for small businesses. It used to be called Section 8 for small businesses. Right now they call it apartment complex for small businesses, and that's your 2, 3, 5,000 square feet warehouse units in a multi-tenant building, and that's so typically service
I love that.
contractors, plumbers, electricians, and that type of stuff. So that's what we're focusing, and there is no data available how to acquire those properties. Well, there is no list, there is no leasing data, owners data. So we just launched Industrial IQ actually last week in Atlanta, and we have 25 paying customers right now, and we just keep
What is
growing
that?
that.
What 25 paying customers that are paying for what?
They paying for access to that software, and the software provides a list, nationwide list for those properties nationwide because they're nowhere classified. Those properties typically appear. Yeah, so they're not listed because there's pretty much nothing is on market right now, or very few. Or if there is some, there is 10 offers right away, and there's probably 120,000 of them nationwide. But yeah, there is leasing data and there is owners data, and there's entire list. Right, we don't have entire list. We keep building it. We build the major markets, but pretty much it's a direct owner tool and your underwriting tool because small bay industrial is not your traditional industrial. The pricing changes on leasing pricing changes within 3-5 miles, and one part of town could be $2-3 more than another part of town. So anywhere you go on any other provider coaster or actually they don't catch it, and we catch that leasing information from Facebook and from leasing, so we just store it so we can, because that's how we determine if it's a good buy or no. It's based on lease comps. So anyway, I'm deviating from this, but where my mind is that I think I'm gonna put a lot of my focus in exploring those models, software and buying businesses. Even though I'm still real estate, definitely the diehard real estate guy, but I'm learning those models too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, right? I guess at the end of the day, there's always an asset class within real estate that, is going to have money flowing to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to certainly flow in and out. I mean, like you said, we're starting to see it flow out of self-storage, out of mobile homes, out of C-class apartment buildings.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are seeing a lot of turbulence in the C-class apartment building space, the older apartment buildings. A lot of that debt is going to get foreclosed on, it seems. They've just been extending and pretending these last 12,
Yeah.
24 months.
Yeah, I just came back also for Atlanta. I had a couple of conversations with operators. Yeah, there is interesting what's happening in those markets were so hot. We don't see it, and they're not being sold as distressed. But from leasing, for example, there are incentives. Developers offering 3, 4, 5 months of free rent in Atlanta, and it just only side conversation. So
Is this for
I
what?
apartment
For an
buildings. That's
apartment?
for
Apartment building?
yeah,
Or like
yeah, apartment
high-rise apartment buildings or just small,
high
like
rise. Yeah.
like gardens?
No, this high rise, new construction high rise buildings.
Brand
Let's say
new. So
brand
they
new. Yeah,
overbuilt in the city of Atlanta is what you're saying.
yeah. That's where I heard. Just only a few conversations with developers. Yeah.
I think that
So
there's a lot of major metropolitan cities where they overbuilt, and they still have
mhm.
cranes there.
At the same time, for whatever reason, I don't believe this time. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if anyone on their mind right now let go to this carnage like we had, in 2010, 11. We keep pretending and something will happen and something will be done, whether they increase the printing press or whatnot. I really don't know, but for whatever reason, I don't think we're going to see those defaults. It's almost similar. Like, remember when we had like shadow inventory coming after that first RDO wave gone, the shadow inventory was coming, it never came.
Never came.
It never
That
came.
was such a buzzword. Shadow
No
inventory.
inventory. Yeah. Yes. So
It
that's
all
how
got
I
eaten
feel
up.
like it's an analogy from right now. This is that delinquent inventory of office and multifamily. It's coming. It's coming, and somehow it never came. It
Yeah,
never will.
it's kind of like how they're saying, I mean, that a lot of what you read and you have so you certainly have saturated areas, like you said, in Atlanta and some of these metropolitan areas where people just came in hordes and are still coming, but the developers have just positioned themselves so far ahead and it's taken so long to build that are they going to be able to catch the wave? Is it going to be over by the time they finish these things?
Yeah.
Or is it over now and they're they're getting stuck? But I don't know. I mean, but then you hear other things about how, there's not enough housing. Like there's not enough
Mm-hmm.
affordable housing. There's not enough places for people to live. And you got all these people
Mm-hmm.
living in their basements of their parents' house. And, I don't know. I don't know who to believe.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, but I know we'll always adapt and we'll figure out the way. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You always adapt. You just got to keep paying attention or not. I mean,
Yeah, it's really hard to forecast, and if you're gonna playing only in the future, it's you can't really make decisions on today. And
right. And just don't
so
over
from
leverage yourself and you'll be fine no matter what happens. Right.
Mhm. Yeah, I think every single day, for me, just making a little bit more progress on the decisions that we are at where we are at hand with this situation. And I guess no one knows, that's how we take it. I guess no one knows, but I know that models will always evolve, and I'm of the opinion that it really yeah, there's a plenty of examples where people stick with the one thing for 30, 40 years. But I think it's wise, at least for me, to keep learning and keep trying to jump on another model that's evolving.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's easier to hedge the risk this way instead of trying to grind it out, because you can grind it out. You can grind it out in mobile home parks, and plenty of people who are stayed for the last 30 years in there. But I think it's easier to learn new models. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. It's more exciting too, right?
Yeah. All right, great. So let's touch a little bit on GoBundance. If you don't mind, let's talk briefly about GoBundance. I was a member of GoBundance, and looking forward to go back into the tribe. Tell me how many members right now we have, and maybe you can briefly tell about the story and how you started. It started as a accountability group between David and Tim, but and how it started and where we're at right now with the tribe.
Yeah. So what GoBundance is it's a mastermind. And if anybody listening knows what a mastermind is, it's basically the concept that 1 + 1 + 1 = 10, not
Mm-hmm.
three. That if you get three or four people talking, the amount of ideas and the amount of knowledge and the amount of, success that comes out of that is going to be tenfold, not just the number of people in the room. And so we facilitate groups of businessmen who want to grow in areas of their life, from business, from wealth, from investing, from health, from marriage, children, you name it. We try to make them well-rounded, rich guys, let's say. And we got about 1,000 members. And yeah, and we have regular events, where we get together and we mastermind and we grow together. And then we have local tribes. We have one like here in Charlotte with about 20 guys. We have one in Charleston, Washington, D.C., New York City, wherever, Chicago. And they get together and they talk and they we request them to help them grow. And of course, you go gobundance.com is the website. Now, how it all started and what it's all about, basically 1997. Wow. So 1997,
Wow.
2007, 2017. Was that
2 years ago.
29 years ago? That doesn't even seem possible.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't even seem possible. David Osborne and I met at a conference in Scottsdale, Arizona. We were both young real estate people, and we became what they call peer partners, which is where we kept each other accountable to tracking where we're putting our money, what we're investing money in, what we're doing every day. Mainly then we were focused on working. Like we would focus on how many hours did you work today and how many hours were dollar productive. Like how many hours I was a real estate agent. So I was focusing on, how many hours I spent prospecting for new business, meeting with sellers, meeting with buyers, closing deals, versus how many hours I worked to keep me from doing dumb stuff that
Yeah.
wasn't productive. And we tracked that and we became peer partners. And then in 2004, we met Tim Rode at another conference in Chicago, actually, at the Four Seasons in Chicago.
Hmm.
And he became an accountability partner. And then eventually we met Mike McCarthy and some other members and yourself. And
Yeah.
we started to grow this little tribe, but it wasn't a business. It was just a group of friends that like to set goals. And
Hmm.
we had an event. I believe you were at that event. We were in Lake Tahoe. We had 38 guys there. We didn't have a membership or anything. And you just paid to come to the hotel or whatever. And then one of the guys, Rock Thomas, who was from a world of Tony Robbins and T.
Hmm.
Harv Eker and that sort of thing, said, you could really make something of this. You could charge money for it. Now, I have to be honest with you. So I sorted by opposites at that point. I thought to myself, why shouldn't I do that? And I thought, well, these guys are just all my friends and I don't want to have to sell my soul to
Hmm.
have a business and not be myself. And, I
Hmm.
like to, I want to go out drinking with these guys and I want to, just relax with these guys and not have to sell or be beholden to a job with my friends. And so I fought against it. And it got to the point where they said to me, you're either in or out. Make a decision. Do you want to make this a business or not? That truly happened. David Osborne said that to me, and I was like, all right, I'm in. So we created a business out of it, and then we began to charge money, and that was, 11 or 12 years ago, and then since then we've grown. Like I said, we're based in Austin, Texas. Matt King runs it. We do have a women's division. We do have like a junior division called Emerge, and we have a couple other divisions, but the main focus is the men's division, which is the GoBundance. And then we also have a champions division, which is if you have a net worth of $10 million or more, you're in the champions division, and you pay more money, and there's some more exclusivity there.
How many members are now in Champions Division?
I think so. If we have 1,000 members total, we probably have about, just rough numbers, 300 champions, 700 regular. And then we probably have another 200 or so in the junior division. We have 200 women. So if you add it all up, it's about 1,400 in all the divisions.
This was the super
Yeah.
growth. Wow.
And we're on a growth trajectory. I mean, we're spending money on marketing. We're spending money on things that grow.
Hmm.
We're having every month we add members. Our growth outpaces our attrition, which is good. So, we're happy. We've got big goals. And, that the interesting part about that, and I think one of the reasons it succeeded is because, number one, it was based on a bunch of friends. And,
Hmm.
there was an article recently about founders of companies that last versus founders of companies that don't. And one of the key factors was the owners like each other, the partners like each other, partners are friends. So there's a soul-based connection that you're like, well, we're all friends. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to get too upset about that because I'm friends with the partners. And I think that's helped a lot. We've been through a lot together and we've, done a lot of cool things together. So anyways, that's going great. And so those are the partners who I actually invested in Laundry Love with. We were able to buy out a partner of Laundry Love. The four owners of GoBundance bought a third of that company from one of three partners. And then same thing with Dapt Acquisitions. Those same partners own Dapt Acquisitions along with Andrew Cushman, who runs it. So I've been very fortunate in having some similar business partners in these things that tend to work. and we tend not to expect a lot of each other, meaning, we did in the beginning where hey, we're all in this together, let's all show up to this event and let's make this happen. But now that it's running, we don't expect a lot, and so I think that helps, because you're not like, oh, I did this and he didn't, you know what I mean, or I recruited 5 guys and he only recruited 2. We don't
Yeah.
have those conversations anymore. So
Yeah.
anyways, I've been lucky. So that's kind of what happened. It's been more of a that was an organic growth. There's no debt on the company. There's no, which makes it great, right? So it was really just kind of having fun, hanging out, and it turned into a company.
Yeah, it definitely fits the bill of easy, lucrative, and fun.
Right.
Easy, lucrative, and fun, and it's very interesting distinction that you did not start as a business. It started something as fun with friends, and eventually just had a organic growth. We don't have to put Facebook ads and try to sell it and have a
Yeah.
funnel, and it just grew. It just grew.
Yeah.
And I think that's the
All
sweet
of our
spot.
members are through referral up until this point. This will be the first year, 2026, that we've actually decided consciously to start putting money back into the business in the form of marketing and
Mhm.
growth. We never did that before, so we're gonna
That's
try it
awesome.
out this year, see what happens.
That's great. Yeah. So anyone who is listening, guys, definitely check it out. Go Abundance. Really amazing group of guys. You'll travel the world. You'll hang out with like-minded people, and your goals will be,
Manifested.
exactly, exactly. So, anything else you want to add? That where people can find you? Where people can find you if they want to reach out to you?
I don't post a lot, but I'm on social media. You could just Google me and find me, but I'm not like this huge source of information. It's more personal stuff. You're welcome to email me. It's my first name at my last name.com, pat@hiban.com. You could go to gobundance.com. Check out gobundance.com/the ride. Maybe donate some money to Matt's cause and in helping underserved people in need in small towns across rural America while he's on a bicycle. Every little bit helps.
I will do that.
So, yeah.
Awesome. All right, Pat. It was an amazing show. Thank you for all the wisdom. I got easy, lucrative, and fun. That's going in my notepad. That's really good to filter for me and probably for all listeners. Thank you again. Hope to see you at some point. And thank you, Pat.
All right, so good to be here, buddy. Great seeing you.
You've been listening to the Value Builder Podcast. For more strategies, stories, and episodes, head to valuebuilder.co or subscribe on your favorite app. Always make it better than you found it and keep adding value. See you in the next one.